What's going on, guys? Miami here with JST, and today I'm in an environment you don't typically see me in. I'm actually in the home of Rick Carson and Ryan Harvey of Make Believe Studios, and we're doing an awesome few videos that you guys are going to fall in love with. Today, I am going to be tracking some drums using Pro Tools on a console. It's not my first time using a console, but there are a lot of interesting things going on with this one. And as you know, any Reaper user, AKA bedroom producer, as we all came up, doesn't typically know how to just step into a studio and get things running. So they've actually helped me out here and patch stuff up so that we can get started, but I'm gonna be checking out some of the gear that they have here, some of which there are no plugins that have an equivalent, some of which will look familiar to you because you have the plugins of it, and some of it even designed by Rick himself. So we're gonna be trying to get an awesome drum sound, and I'm gonna show you guys how we do that right now. Today I am with Justin. Justin, you wanna introduce yourself?
My name's Justin Essing. I play drums for Jack.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and I'm gonna really enjoy sitting here and messing around and compressing and EQing what you got going on from a little tune that Ryan Harvey put together. We're gonna get into that right now. So before we get too far along into this, we're gonna take a listen to the guitars that Ryan came up with that Justin's going to be playing to. Let's take a quick listen to that now. Something along the nu metal vein. Now, at the moment, we have turned off the EQs on the kit. We are running through some Daking preamps right now for the shells and the heavy lifting over there. And then the kick out, the snare bottom, and a couple other things are going to the pies, which are things I've never seen before in real life. I've used like the pie compressor like from Waves that like we all know, but that's literally all that I know. Let's give it a shot and see how it goes, and we'll start messing with this stuff as he's playing. Actually, Justin, for a second, can you start hitting the kick drum for me? So if you have your groups active, even though it's recording, if you right click on solo, it will play only that instrument. So even though things are active to be recorded, you're not gonna hear everything else. Like if I turn that off. Just a little tip if you guys didn't know that. Let's start messing with some EQ here on the kick drum. Obviously, as you guys know, punching up around, you know, anywhere 50 to 80 usually sounds awesome. A little boost right there is nice. I usually like to scoop out some low mids, but we're gonna see what happens by cranking. Actually don't mind those. Just gonna cut back a little bit of 500 here, and gonna give this a little bit more knock and click around 1.5K. Sounds pretty dope, and that's just from here. Now if we turn this off, big difference. That's what happens with some real API EQs. It's a beautiful thing. On this Daking pre right now, one thing that is happening is it is being high passed just a little bit. We don't want to push this too far, but it's nice if you turn it too far, well, not the greatest sounding thing. And now we are going to pop in the EQ from this ADR. If you're familiar with like the Compex plugin that David Bendeth has with Boz Digital, you'll be kind of familiar with the layout of how this looks. It's not the same thing though. Gonna crank up some 70 hertz here. I'm actually gonna try and get some 3 to 4K knock here. I know usually it's always about cut 4K, but actually sometimes like a little of that on that click on a kick. Now, I don't know about you guys, that's sounding pretty good to me right now. Now I'm gonna pop this compressor in. Whoa, that sounds great to me. Right now, we are clipping the converter, but it sounds nice. If I take it off, you lose something. So for the kick, I'm good with where that's at right now. Can you start hitting the snare for me, please? Snare sounding pretty solid. We're gonna engage that EQ9. A go-to for everyone. People love bumping some 200 hertz, right? Obviously. You can already feel the body of that coming in. And I like to get some crack, usually around like 3.2 on a snare. And the closest I'm gonna get that here is 3K. Take a listen to that. I'm liking how that sounds. And right now I'm hitting some 5K. Just a little though, like 2 dB. And I don't know if you guys hear this, but there's like this 500 to 700 hertz thing going on right now. This, you hear that? The 700 hertz, it has a bite that I'm okay with, but the 500 has that poking resonance frequency. We're gonna cut that pretty drastically. Now I'm gonna turn that EQ off and turn it back on. And I'm liking how that snare is sounding right now. Justin, for a sec, can you just play the kit for me? One second now. Now we're gonna mess with those toms. I gotta look and see where these even are on the console. But yeah, can you hit the tom one for me? Gonna engage the EQ, start messing around. They already have some stuff making this sound good here before I even touched it. I cut out 500 on the snare. I'm gonna cut out like 700. And boost a little 100. EQ off. EQ on. Can you hit the second tom for me? Cutting a little 500 hertz here.
Hey man, I don't want to be a butthole, but I think you're making a classic console mistake move.
Go ahead, Rick, school me.
You're using these ones?
Yeah.
Oh, no, never mind. I'm wrong.
Thought I was about to get my
No.
ass chewed out over here.
No, we were just back here listening to it and like it wasn't changing. And we were like, is he changing the right
Well,
channel?
like, listen. 100. If I cut it out.
Yeah.
No. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not really making too much of drastic moves. I already like how this tom sounds right now. But yeah, feel free. You know what I'm saying? Come at your boy.
I've made the mistake myself. That's the one.
Sometimes though, it's like psychoacoustically, like I'll be sitting there thinking the same, like almost in a way like as if it's in bypass, and I'm like sitting there.
Well, everyone always asks me like which plugin, SSL plugin, is the most like a console, and I'll say that for me it's been the CLA Mix Hub, because I will go up there and I'll turn the wrong EQ just like on the desk.
Justin, can you do me a favor now and just play all the shells? So what we're gonna do now is actually I'm gonna turn all those EQs off, and I'm gonna turn the insert off here that's doing the compression and the EQ for the kick drum. And you'll notice that a lot of life is lost by doing that. Just by bringing those back in, brings the whole kit back to life. And now, Justin, I want you to go back and play through this song one more time. So in Pro Tools, you can simply make playlists of this so that you can start recording again and then make your comp of it later on if you want to. But I'm still, I mean, I typically wouldn't keep a take like this because I'm still messing around with effects and I don't have a sound that I'm happy with yet. Right now, I'm still trying to get that kick drum right. Do me a favor, just keep hitting the kick for me one more time. A little bit more body here. Gonna have you come in and play this one more time right now. Well, a few more times, but just one time now that I feel like I dialed it in a little bit better. So one thing that, because I don't work on a console often, something I wasn't thinking about is just making sure that all my levels are right for my rooms. Anything that would technically be like stereo and I would just be looking at the meter side by side, look and visually see that and kind of check off the console too of what I'm pushing in. So got to go through that and do that again. Just like one of those things that you typically don't think about when you're not doing this every day. But one more time, my friend. Well, Ryan had this up already, Kevin's Limiter, which is one of the plugins from Make Believe Studios that I've had the pleasure of using. Really dope one. I'll probably be popping in like the Soundtech EQ on this kick in. I'm not totally at where I want to be at with that, but for the rest of this, like, I'm liking how it sounds. Snare is kind of clipping right now, but once again, okay with that, like no issues. Same thing with the kick drum at times, but that cut that I did originally to 500 Hertz, I changed that out and I did a boost at 240 because I care more about the body than something that I'll be able to EQ out later. And sometimes you have to make those choices when you're dealing with an EQ on a console like this, where you only have so many bands that you can deal with, right? That is one of the beauties of software, is that you have an unlimited amount of it. But the sound of that 240 Hertz coming off of that EQ sounds beautiful. These are a bit more colored than something like using a fab filter type plugin to just notch something. So that's the reason why I did that. You ready to go again? I noticed that you're hitting the kick a little bit softer than you were in the last couple takes. Do you need a second?
Yeah, I'm cool.
All right, dope. Yeah, I think we're gonna get a few takes after this, and then we'll be good to go. When you're dealing with there's so much more stuff that you're like trying to think of mentally. The cool thing about Pro Tools, even though I don't really use it all that often, is that it does work in the way that a console works. So it makes sense that people use this. I would find this pretty difficult to do if I was using Reaper, not gonna lie. It would just make it harder. Another thing you want to remember, even when somebody's making mistakes inside of a track or something's wrong, like, you want to keep those takes because you always might need them at a later time, you know, so you could throw something together if necessary. Well, there you guys have it. That is pretty much how we would go about tracking drums for a song when you go into a studio and you don't know what's going on. I had a lot of fun doing that. Want to thank you so much, Justin, for being a part of that.
Thank you, man.
And what I want to do to take this a step further is mix everything that we recorded after it's comped and everything.
Make sure that you stay tuned because it's going to get really wild.
If you're an engineer on the come up, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe. You only have to do it one time. And keep your eye on notifications. And when it drops, you'll know the location. So stay tuned for the next episode, and you'll have a grand old time. I'll catch you guys later.